DeGroot.
He's here. So next item would be Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So from here, we'll move to public comment. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments on any matter. Please fill out a comment form, and the president will recognize you. Use the microphone up here at the podium, and state your name and address for the public record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. So we have a number of people commenting tonight. So again, keep your comments brief. Can we hear from Eric Cates? Is Eric here? No, actually, Eric, it looks like you're wishing to speak on the discontinuation of Wheaton Lane. Did you want to wait until we bring that matter up? Okay, very well. Likewise, is it James? 1308 Villa Street. Are you speaking? Are you speaking on Wheaton Lane as well? Well, why don't you come up then?
Speak now.
Please state your name and address.
Jamisha Judon, 1308 Villa Street, Lower.
Go ahead. Go
Y'all
ahead.
asked me something, or y'all want me to speak now?
You
I
signed up
just
for.
feel like Baja's is a neighborhood store, and it's convenient for kids, it's convenient for a lot of people. And I just feel like, I don't know, it won't be right with Baja's not here no more, so I just feel it's convenient. And it should just stay where it's at and be how it be. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Eric, why don't you come up and speak then too? Because I'm pretty sure that, are you here to speak about Mead Street? Okay, please come up.
My name is Eric Cates, 1310 Erie Street, and I'm just here to say that I support the new business on Main Street for Wheaton. For Dave here, for his new building.
Okay.
That's it.
John, 2215 LaSalle.
Oh, I'm John Leighton, 2215 LaSalle Street, and I'm here in support of Dave and the Mead Street Supermarket. Dave and I have done business for and with each other for many years, and they got a good group, and he's going to do a good job there.
Thank you. Andre, can't spell your last name, 1805 Franklin.
Hey, Dave. Dave, can we get them to say their municipalities as well? These all seem to be receiving
Right.
other places.
I'm here to support Baja's, cause I ended up buying me a bike. I bought me a bike cause I got to ride to another store longer down the road. And he was convenience and everything to me while he was there. I mean, with everything that he did. and he was a very beautiful person and everything. And I don't see nothing wrong with him. I seen that he was doing everything all right, and he was doing everything the way he supposed to be doing. So I'm here to support him for that. Thank you very much.
Ruben, 1904 Mead Street.
Hi, my name is Tamara Cornelio. I'm his translator.
Mi nombre es Rubén Cornejo,
His name is Ruben Cornejo.
vivo en la 1904
He
Mead
lives in
Street.
1905 Mead Street.
¿Por qué necesitamos una tienda abierta ahí? Porque
He needs to open that store because
yo que no tengo carro,
he don't have a
necesito,
car. He needs to walk from stores.
necesitamos lo básico para la familia y para mí es difícil
He says it's difficult to him to walk from the other stores to his house.
caminar muchas cuadras para conseguir la familia para
He needs to
para
walk
ellos.
like too far to go to the stores. So that's why he wants to support the store Bajas.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You want me to do it? Or you gonna call my name? I'm in there too, so it's up to you.
What's your name?
Mora, M-O-R-A, 1950 Racine Street. Cornelio,
What's the address again?
1950 Racine Street.
Okay, I got you.
I'm Cornelio Mora. I live in 1950 Racine Street. They are a good worker. We need that store to open to protect the stores and everything from kids to go to the stores. They got the park next back, so the kids can go to the stores in there. And they got the monkey bars, so they can got schools there. So I like them to open that store real quick to support them. I know them for a long time, so I hope they open the store.
Thank you.
Yep.
George Schramm.
My
Name and
name
address.
is George Schramm, 1629 Pratt Avenue, and I feel that Dave's a good businessman and he shouldn't close that store because we need that store in the neighborhood, and that's it.
Thank you. Corey Prince.
Corey Prince. I'm here to support Boz and Dave in their business, but not just them. I'm here to support actually the neighborhood, the actual community that surrounds the business. I grew up in 1921 Center Street, still live there right now. And Baja's is actually the closest store that I patronize. It's the closest store that my 70-year-old mother patronizes. It's the closest store that my 75-year-old aunt patronizes. It's the store that the people in this neighborhood know since it was Wales Brothers, since Mr. and Mrs. Wales used to send a lot of us to the store with notes. And then since then, it's been a continuation of good neighborhood owners that have respected the neighborhood and the community and the people in the neighborhood. And that's why the store was being patronized at the level that it was. I heard something about a nuisance. To be honest, there's a nuisance everywhere. Literally. There's everything from mass shootings to robberies to homicides to every crime that you can think of going on everywhere from churches, synagogues, to Walmart. And they're not closing. They're being allowed to keep their license, to keep their business, and more importantly, to serve the communities that are asking for them to be there. So we're all here today, most of us are here today to ask, and hopefully not to belabor the time. The people that support this message right here will come up and just say ditto. We're here today just asking that you support and allow a neighborhood business. We know Dave, he's been owning businesses in our neighborhood for years and years and years. He does good business with a lot of other business people. I know a black business, Mobile Joe's Tire Company, who, just so much support from, local businesses. Unfortunately, this is a far distance from Mead Street and the neighborhood that we're here to support. So it's difficult for people to get out here en masse and voice their opinions, but overwhelmingly, there is support for this business and for Dave in this community. Thank you.
Can we hear from Mark Schramm? Mark Schramm? 1629 Pratt.
He stepped up.
Patrick Hatcher. And on deck is Pepe.
Patrick Hetchler, 2004 House Street. I've been in the neighborhood for like 9 years. I go to that store a few times a week. I get gas from their gas station right over there, and it's always very clean, well kept. I can't imagine they treat this place any less. I hope today you guys keep the store, or at least open it. I mean, you know. Thank you.
Pepe. Name and address.
All right. My name is Pepe Holston. I'm at 1805 Franklin Street. I only been there for about 6 months. I'm from Taylor Street at the other store. But since I've been here, I love it. I only been there 6 months. And like I said, it is a long way to walk. And I just had surgery on my knee, but I still have to do it. And like I said, I mean, it was already far enough to get there, but now I had to go all the way to hometown, or probably on Taylor. So like I said, it would be more convenient for the whole neighborhood if they stay. Thank you.
You bet. Can we hear from Loretta Harris?
My name is Loretta Harris. I stay at 1944 Racine Street. Pretty much what the gentleman said is pretty much how I feel. I am disabled, but it's very convenient for me to get to that store. In order for me to get to a store, I have to go Walmart or Piggly Wiggly, where I can go to the neighborhood and get pretty much what I need. So I'm here to support them staying open, and thank you.
Reggie, on House Street. Name and address. Michael Shields, you're on deck.
Reggie Hearn, 2336 Howell Street. I've been living over there for 14 years in front of the school, so we have no problems. So we deal with the community from the school, from Zoe Minister Church to the police department over there. So we deal with this every day of not having a store being open when the kids can be vended for the store, which we got a brand new park over there for the kids to come enjoy themselves. So for the kids to close the store is by heart. So we do a lot of work around there, a lot of stuff there, so we would like to have the store open if everybody said the same. And I ain't saying this just to be saying it, but older people is trying to get in here from the church. And when they get in, then they find out the store closed. They like, oh, I was the near one at. We're down at the gas station down here. They can't walk that far. So we asking y'all for the please just give us a chance. Just give us a chance. Just because somebody else messed up, I think we can straighten it up. I think we can straighten it up together. So we're gonna try that, okay? Thank you.
Mr. Shields?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and other committee members, I would like to thank you for allowing me to at least come up here and speak. My address is 1850 13th Street, Racine, Wisconsin, and I'm in favor of licensing and getting, in this food desert, this business a chance to operate. I understand, I did a little research, and I understand what you're going through when we want a safe community. And no one want to live, or any business want to live where they don't feel safe when they come and patronize the businesses. But after doing my research, the problems that you had at that particular store, I commend you for taking their license, because they needed taken. You should have took it earlier than what you did, but it didn't happen. But now we got a chance to rebuild the neighborhood, give a new owner a chance to see what they're gonna do. I under impression that there's gonna be store hours that is less than what it used to be. They're gonna have safety, police officers there during the weekend. And I think if you give them a chance, and as I stand up here and talk in favor of them, I will be the same one standing up here. If they do anything wrong, I'll be the same one standing up here saying, get rid of them. Because we don't need that type of energy in our community. And I'm here to support small businesses that need some overhead, some overshadow of what they're doing, and support them so they can do the right thing. Because any business needs someone, I've been down this road and I know what you're going through, but they need someone to help guide them to do the right thing. And that's what I'm gonna be doing in my spare time, helping small businesses do the right thing. If they're not doing the right thing, I'm gonna come up here and tell you, get rid of them. Thank you.
Can we hear from Tom Santarelli?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Thomas Santarelli, 1108 56th Street in Kenosha. I'm the attorney that represents the owners of the property, and I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. First of all, there was a prior tenant that was operating the location. That tenant, as soon as the owners learned that they were doing bad things, and we all know what those were, the owner acted. He came down here, he talked to the clerk, tried to meet with the chief of police, and then called us to get that tenant removed. Since then, the tenant has been removed, albeit destroyed the property, but they've spent a lot of time rehabilitating the property to make it in a position where it can be reopened. And the liquor license is paramount to the business model. And as you've seen from the members of the community that are here, I've given you a letter with several signatures. I've got more signatures here that I'm going to give to the clerk when I'm finished. There is community support, and this is the only store within walking distance for many of these community members that you've heard of, that it's convenient for them, it's walking distance for not only these people here, but the kids of the community. So it is something important for the community to keep. The agent at the meeting a couple of weeks ago had explained how the hours will be reduced. A lot of the problems that were occurring appeared to happen after 9 o'clock or late at night. There's a focus here to limit the hours, to close at 9 o'clock at night. We'd be happy to enter into some stipulation as it relates to the liquor license to keep that time frame closing at 9 o'clock as a condition of the liquor license, and any other condition that the board would consider. But these owners have operated businesses within the community for the last 27 years with no problems. And they will be operating their location, and there is an anticipation that there will be no problems, and a commitment to the community and to the board as a whole that there will be no problems. Thank you.
Kevin Randall?
Kevin Rano, 5621 First Street, that's Highway KR in Summers. When I was here 2 weeks ago, I introduced two topics, speeding on Highway KR and the continued dumping at the Bikes Ramkey Parkland. I offered to provide more information, so I'm here today with an update. I asked you to educate yourselves. Have you driven down Highway KR? Have you visited the park dump site and the source of the materials at Pleasant Valley Lake? To start, I would like to send kudos to law enforcement and those who authorize recent speed monitoring on Highway KR. Thank you. This makes a noticeable difference when you're out there. Please continue with any spare time that you may have. I spoke with Kenosha County Highway Department. Some good news, they seem very receptive and will schedule their radar speed sign trailer to be placed on KR when it becomes available. They will also investigate if there are any appropriate caution signs to protect our residential area. Next, have you looked into village policy for dumping private waste on public parkland? The Wisconsin DNR classifies this material as dredging spoil. Does your policy accept dredging spoil? An aerial view of the village shows 12 or 15 similar private ponds. Will the village accept waste from each of them? Is this our fate? We hope not. Let's be clear, the neighbors and I would like the trucks to stop. 10 years is too much. If you've not been to the dump site, I suggest that you visit. As board members, you each hold responsibility to safeguard the public, maintain property values and your constituents' quality of life, and to protect the assets of the village. It's time for a field trip. Here are 3 pictures. This is a parade of dump trucks. Here's a dump truck releasing the sloppy dredging spoil. In a site overview after a rain, you can see the dike set up to contain the sludge, but it was later opened at the low end to drain it out. I counted the trucks arriving at a rate of 12 per hour, or an average of 1 every 5 minutes. With their subsequent departure, this equates to a truck entering or leaving the highway every 2.5 minutes. This creates a traffic safety hazard, and caution signs should be posted on the highway when this crew is working. Each truck is only about half full due to the nature of the wet and heavy load. A cubic yard of saturated soil weighs about 1.5 tons, so each truck is probably dumping about 12 to 15 tons. Multiply this by the number of loads, and it comes to about 1,000 tons per day. Ask yourself, is accepting 1,000 tons of dredging spoil per day on your parkland from a private lake properly looking out for the village assets? Are you fulfilling your responsibility to your neighbors? Does this improve our quality of life? If you're acquiescing to using your park as a landfill, and I hope not, at least do it right. Place someone in charge, document what materials are being dumped and by who, keep a log of dates and the volume dumped, respect the erosion control rules, and most importantly, charge private parties the market landfill rate. As an undesirable material, dredging spoil can be very expensive to dispose of. I can return to the next meeting to share more details on this, and I'm also available if anyone would like to discuss it. Thank you.
Is anybody else wanted to speak that I haven't called her name on? We're all good? Okay, in that case, we'll close public comment. Excuse me?
One more.
I think he's the one that was out, walked out.
But that's okay.
I may have called your name earlier when you might have been out. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, members of the committee. My name is Keith Fair, former alderman of the city of Racine, and I stand here today in support of the license. I came in a little late, but I did hear a couple of the people speak. This place has been done wrong by the previous owner, we know that. But to penalize someone who wants to do right would be wrong. So I stand before you today and in support of this license because as we survey the area, that's Mr. Shields and I and stuff, we've met with, the applicants, and we are doing proactive things to alleviate the particular problems that are happening, that happen there right now. So we spoke to the owners. The owners assured us that they want to head in the right way. They want to cooperate with this committee. They want to cooperate with the board. And given that leniency, hopefully you'll see fit to grant the license. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fair. So with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the consent agenda passes. And then we'll move on to the matter of discontinuing Wheaton Lane. We have a public hearing regarding that. The following rules apply to this public hearing and to each of the following public hearings scheduled for tonight. If you wish to speak, please fill out a public hearing form. You can find that on the table near the entrance. Once recognized, speakers will come to the podium, identify themselves with their name and address. Please speak clearly into the microphone. Speakers must direct all discussions towards the board. I will not allow interchange between members of the audience and the speaker. Please do not interfere with nor interject comments while another person has the floor. Please keep all comments on the particular item before the board no longer than 5 minutes. And finally, please turn off or mute electronic devices. So I'm going to go to Claude for the summary.
Yes, Mr. President, trustees, again, this is Wheaton Lane. It's an area 2 of TID 5 on Braun Road, just north of Braun Road. We left Wheaton Lane in place after we had purchased those properties along this parcel. Again, depending upon what the next user might be and if they might need that access or not. Obviously, Microsoft is in the process of acquiring this property. They have notified the village that they no longer need Wheaton Lane or have any use from Wheaton Lane. Being that we are the sole owners of the land around it, we're just asking the village board right now to just vacate Wheaton Lane so it'll just go away. Microsoft has no use for that parcel, that road at this point in time.
Thank you. So at this point, we open it to public to speak. As far as I know, I've got nobody signed up to speak on this item. I don't believe anybody here is wanting to speak on the Wheaton Lane abandonment. Don't see any hands. So at the same time, I can close public comment on that particular business item. And so we can go back to Trustee Baccia.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 34-2023, discontinuing Wheaton Lane.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. And again, this is something that we just took up at Committee of the Whole. So I'm just going to call the vote on that. And roll call, please.
Washburn.
Aye.
Anastasio.
Aye.
Hewitt.
Aye.
Bhatia.
Aye.
Doxey.
Aye.
Venturini.
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. So from here, we're going to go to discussion, possible motion regarding the Class A liquor license, Mead Food and Liquor, 2145 Mead Street.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve a new Class A liquor license for Mead Food and Liquor located at 2145 Mead Street.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second to approve the liquor license. Please weigh in.
Mr. President, I have to say that I'm greatly impressed by the people I see in the room tonight. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to ask a question, but I see the couple that walked in with the 3 cute little babies. They were kind of late, and I just was wondering if they were in support of it or not, of the store or not. May I ask that question?
Sure.
Of the people? Were you here to speak tonight in favor or against the opening of the store? A favor. So I think that
Maybe the public may not have heard what she said, so please repeat.
what I asked her is whether or not they were here, she and her family were here to speak in favor of the opening of the new store, and she said they were here to speak in favor.
That's
of
what
it.
I want to make sure the public is aware of, the fact that they're in a positive way.
Okay. So I'm very impressed by the people that you've gathered here. I don't live in the city side of Mount Pleasant. I have to admit that. But I did in the last couple of weeks take some drives through. And I did that to note that, you know, I do a lot with planning in my business and so forth. And one of the problems that we've struggled with in inner city communities like yours is the small corner store. It's very hard to make a living. I owned a small business in a small community like yours, and it was very tough. And I think the thing that really concerned us, particularly me as a board member, was knowing how far we've come in your neighborhood
with the cop house, that our police department has worked very hard to protect you and these darling little children. And we really were very, very, very angry and very upset at what had happened previously. It appears to me, by what I see in writing, the testimony from the attorney, as well as the outreach that I'm hearing from the neighbors, people who are older, who don't have a means of transportation, people who have young children and need a place to go to get a gallon of milk. It's not all about the liquor, although I'm sure that's a part of it. So I guess, having said that, and having heard all of the comments from the people, 2 weeks ago I was very opposed to this. I was adamant, and I know you remember, I sat there and I told you that I felt you were irresponsible as an owner because you didn't protect your business, because you didn't know what was going on with your tenant. But the more I hear about it and the more I look into it, I think, but at the time you found out what was wrong, you took action. So I would like to just express the fact that that has changed my mind. And I feel that it is a need in the neighborhood, and I would be willing to support it, but, you know, one false move and we'll be back. But in any event, I just wanted to voice my opinion in regards to, I'm impressed by what the people have said, the need in the neighborhood, and the information that's been provided by the owner.
Andrew.
Okay, so bear with me because I have a few things to say on this, and I might pause. But, so I didn't just drive by the neighborhood. I stopped in the neighborhood on Saturday, and I knocked on doors and talked to people. And as some of the people were going up, I started checking addresses, and I saw that several were close by, but I also saw that several were not in the area of the store. From what I gathered from talking to people in the neighborhood, spoke to a lady whose house had a bullet go through the wall and land next to her grandson. And that was from some type of shooting that happened from people outside the liquor store drinking and after hours. And another said, well, they've been in the neighborhood for over 20 years. They know that most of the issues are coming from Racine. People are coming down to the area to get alcohol because they know that they can buy underage and buy after hours at the store. Another comment I had made to me by a few people were complaints about the amount of trash that was always around outside the store. And it's from people coming there, getting their booze, walking outside the store, drinking it, and throwing the bottles in the gutter, in the street. I remember myself going down there 2020, 2021, picking up a pizza, and just seeing all the trash laying about, and kind of like, I thought it was Racine. I didn't even, at the time, know it was Mount Pleasant. But I had, just going and talking to people, I had a lot of people say that they would not want to see alcohol at the store because they know the problems that it brought in. And several that said they probably would not want the store even open again because of the history. The other comments I had, and I heard some of them tonight, were that area is a food desert. And it would be really nice to have a convenience store, and I think a few of you guys actually brought this up, that this area is a food desert, and it would be good to have quality food at a store like that people could walk to and purchase when they can't get to a grocery store because they're so far away. So there was the possibility, people were saying that they would like to have this opened up again for food. I took a picture of the front of the store, and what I noticed on the front of the store that really stood out to me is every sign on the front of the store was alcohol related. There wasn't any signs for food. It was all alcohol related. And we're talking about the liquor license here and the tobacco license. I don't know that I would vote to allow you to have a liquor license again, knowing the history.
because I think it just is asking for more trouble. But I think having a store there where people can come and get food that's non-perished, because that was another complaint I had, was, and I know it's different ownership now, but was a lot of the food that was in the store was past its perishable date, past its expiration date. So it seems to me that this was run to sell liquor and not really to sell a lot of food, and this food was ignored. So I think there needs to be some type of plan on how things are gonna be run in that store that I'd like to see better laid out than we just wanna open, we have some people from the neighborhood. I wanna see a plan that we're gonna do something that's good for the neighborhood, that's gonna help the neighborhood and make it better. And I don't think alcohol necessarily is gonna really help the neighborhood out. There's other stores nearby that sell alcohol. And I think you probably have one that's not too far away. That gas station? That's not yours? Okay. So, but yeah, that's just what I heard. I'm not exactly, I'm very wary about this.
Like you said, all the incident happened is after 9. There is no incident before 9. So when we had the dining, that we're gonna close at 9. So I don't think there's gonna be no problems after 9 o'clock. So the store's gonna be shut down.
I'm done.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Hewitt? Mr. Hewitt?
I hear the situation, it's either clean it up or it's gonna be shut down. It sounds as though that the neighborhood wants a second chance. It's gonna be up to us to make that decision tonight. A second chance, not for the owners, but for the people who need to get there, to get the food and provide other things that they need. Am I right?
Thank you, John. Ram?
Denise.
Denise?
Well, I appreciate the work that Andrew has done to check it out, and I feel more like Nancy, I guess, that when we heard about the problems in the past, I felt, no, we don't want that back. The neighbors aren't happy with that. And in fact, I thought, when there were so many people here, I thought maybe some of you were here to say, don't open it because it caused so many problems before. And this really opened my eyes to hear all of you, and that you would come here and tell us, no, we want this because we need access. And I understand, I agree with Andrew in that, yes, it would be nice if it was a food store and not a liquor store, but I understand, I never ran a business, anything like this, so I can't imagine. But I imagine that your business model is probably not going to be successful without having the liquor and the cigarettes. Being the nature of that kind of a business. So I'm changing my mind too from last time when we heard about this a couple weeks ago. I know that it was the former tenant who had the issues, and I know you owned it, and I think that we thought that as an owner, you would have known what was going on and turned a blind eye to it. But I'm taking this letter from your attorney that you did not know what was going on, and that you are now setting a different standard, and I appreciate that you want to close the store at 9 o'clock to hopefully get rid of problems that come with the alcohol sales late at night. So that's my feeling, and I really appreciate so many. We haven't had this many people come out to speak to us in a long time, and it's good to know what the community wants.
Ron?
I see both sides. Trustee Doxey has expressed some concern, and I remember then when the previous owner, when the license was being, the reason they lost the license was because the community was coming here telling us, we don't want that. It was nothing but problem. We heard from the police and everything at that time. So it, like my other colleague said, Denise said, Nancy said, it's good to hear from the community that you're coming here to support. I also have read probably every line of the letter that you wrote, and as the former alderman of the city of Racine said, it will be, I think in my opinion, it will be wrong to penalize the new operator, the new owner for the mistakes of the past. And Mount Pleasant is a developing community, in my opinion, with the right effort, with the right attitude, with the right support from the community, and obviously it's a risk. And I'm going to assume that risk, but I'm going to take your word, your letter, your commitment as a guarantee that you're going to live up to the expectation. And because of that, it'll be wrong to penalize you for the mistakes of the past. And like we said, we need to give you a second chance. And in my opinion, your business without the license probably would not be a successful business. That's the nature of the business. So for that reason, I would hope that that we support that, and we'll be watching.
Mr. Venturini?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Trustee Doxey for going out there and beating the pavement and doing the legwork on this and getting some information that was really helpful. One thing you didn't mention, and I'm kind of curious, was it 50-50? Did you get a good feeling? Was it more or less of what people wanted to do?
On the problem that the neighborhood had, the people that I talked to in the neighborhood, and I talked to people on Mead Street, to including Wells Brothers, was the trash that was there, that's not there. Saturday night I was there, late Saturday afternoon, and the street was very clean, looked very good. And so the trash was no longer an issue, and the late night things that were going on that were the problems that happened. One of the descriptions was these groups would gather, and then that's where you had your problems later at night. Now, everybody that I talked to said that they would like to see a food place there that had good food that they could pick up. We are recording this. You can get it off the website. Oh, I can get it right here. But yeah, they said that they wanted, they would like to see a food store there. So
Okay.
But not, the problem that the people had that I talked to were with what the alcohol and the late night sales brought.
Right. What's troubling for me is that, obviously the party that's applying for the license tonight gathered a group in support of what they want to do. And I've heard others that aren't in favor of this. So we don't know if this is what that entire neighborhood wants. I think there is a need, I know there's a need to have a food store in the area. But there's a history here that's obviously, as you've heard, is very bothersome for us. And we don't want to see that repeated because we're trying to help the neighborhood. We're trying to make it a better place to bring up the children. So that's the issue that we have here. I think if this were, I'm not sure how it would happen where we'd get an opportunity to hear the other side of things, but I think the reason we're being swayed tonight is because that group is being represented. So I'm not exactly sure where I fall. I guess that time will come.
I've got to tell you, I'm once bitten, twice shy still on all this because I remember well from a couple of weeks ago, and as this was brought before us, thinking back on when going back to, I think it was June, when we denied the renewal of the liquor license, the operators at the time, they appealed it, and so we this group gathered together to hear the appeal, and operators were actually very blasé about their transgressions, and they figured that since they appealed it, that we'd just roll over and renew the license. And for all of the reasons that were going on in the community, the police calls, the garbage, the underage sales, the after-hours sales, it is well known, to Trustee Doxey's point, that your store received an awful lot of traffic from the city of Racine, because everybody knew that if it was after 9 o'clock, the place to go was the Mead Street Market, because they were always open to conduct business. We, had heard from the police department, and I'll check in with Chief Sones in just a minute. We'd heard that not only all of these after-hour sales were going on, but the product that was being sold half the time didn't have tax stamps on it, so it was getting sourced from, frankly, illicit places that were not complying with Wisconsin law. And the same thing went for the cigarettes. The cigarettes weren't tax stamped either. So it was just a really shoddy operation, not only from the business. I'm speaking now, and the board is debating this. I'm not taking any more public comment. So what we did notice is that because of non-renewal, the place did get cleaned up. The neighborhood has returned to normalcy, and there's not the problems that there were. I am not in favor of renewing the liquor license, and I get it that a small store needs liquor and cigarettes in order to survive. But I remain unconvinced that, given that this whole thought of it being a grocery store up until now was really nothing but a charade. Everybody knew that was liquor and cigarettes, and you might buy some Twinkies or something there, but you sure weren't getting fresh food. So from that standpoint, I'm still not in favor of this. I would like to see a store become successful there. I'd like to see a place where people can buy produce and healthy food. But I'm not, and frankly, we did not close the store. We just non-renewed the liquor and the cigarettes. It was the store itself that decided that, if they're going to get a new operator, they were going to remodel, and I've seen signs saying that remodeling, but I still see the liquor signs, around. So I guess, I have the feeling that, again, it's always been assumed that there's going to be liquor sold there, and I guess until I see a little prove it in the works that you are doing something to deal with the food desert aspect of it. I'm one of 7 votes here, but I'm not in favor of that. Chief Sones, did you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, Mr. President. So what we found is similar to what Trustee Doxey had found when he was down there. Many of the residents in the immediate vicinity, which when I listened to the addresses tonight too, there's very few, if any, that are in that immediate area. Now, if I live on the north side of Racine and there are issues at this store, that person on the north side doesn't really care. They don't deal with the trash. They don't deal with the shots fired calls there, the fights, the damage to property, that type of thing. Now, that's nothing against the potential new owner and operator. They're looking, what the people in the neighborhood have expressed is historically what the business has bought with the sales of alcohol. Now, we also know that some of the people that are in that 21, 22, 2300 block of Mead Street also in the immediate vicinity of Racine Street. Some of the places on Howe aren't necessarily eager to come here and express that either, you know, whether it's fear of retaliation or whatever the case might be. But that's the findings we have, which match what Trustee Doxey had from walking around down there. So, you know, our concern too isn't necessarily with, we agree that definitely a food desert, and we're not saying that the store isn't needed, it's just what the alcohol sales bring, which, as I said, kind of match what Trustee Doxey found out.
So, again, we went through a lot of effort to non-renew, and I would just caution the trustees to, you know, think carefully before we jump back into a fresh license at a very troubled history.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
I appreciate, you know, the comments you're making regarding the non-renewal that we voted on several months ago. And I remember well that discussion, and I remember well the apathy that the then applicant had for us. It was sort of like, yeah, I'll clean it up, it'll be okay, and we were supposed to it was just a very uncompelling testimony on their part. And I understand too how hard we've worked, and that has been something that's very important to me in terms of helping that neighborhood maintain a safer family environment so that everybody can feel free to raise their children and be a part of the neighborhood. I think that we've all made a point of the trash that was there, the after-hours activities that were there, the illegal sale of alcohol and cigarettes that were not even legally purchased alcohol and cigarettes. I think we have a responsibility too, you know, in terms of inspections and so forth, to be making sure that we're checking on all of our stores. I don't care if it's just the one over there on Mead Street, all of our stores. Any of them could be selling illegal product. I think that I would much rather see it be a beer and wine license as opposed to a full alcohol license, if that's, you know, and I'm not sure what the steps are for that. I'm not crazy about the hard alcohol part of it either, but I think that this family has gone to great length to prove how committed they are to the neighborhood and to that store. And they have another business that's been operating on the north side for many, many years, and that's where a lot of these people know them from. So I think that what they're trying to prove is that they are a reliable owner, business owner that wants to make a difference in this building that they've owned since it appears to be 2017. And they're now going to take it over because those they've leased to have let them down. Those they've leased to have not been responsible. And so now the family says, we're going to take it over and we're going to run it. These licenses run for a year. They have to be renewed. And I think that it's important that we fill some of the holes there because you have a store owner that knows how to run a business, and I believe that he's worth a second chance, I guess is what I'm saying. And
So are you asking for a limited license, just beer and wine?
I don't know if I can. If under the Robert's rules, I could amend it, I would be happy to.
No, you can't do that. You'd have to deny this, they'd have to reapply, and then you'd take that up on its own application.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
If I may, I echo Trustee Washburn, as I said earlier, and as you pointed out, your concerns are very valid, and you said, until we see some faith, and to me, new owner with a commitment, they know what the history was, the hours are going to be different. And so I believe that if we have to give anyone, and in this case, it's not the owner, it's the community, a second chance, this would be it. Give them second chance, and like Nancy said, although I do understand it's not easy to take the license away, but still, every year license come for renewal. And so I would believe that this is the time to give them, the neighborhood, a chance, and the new owners to prove that what they're committing here is that we are going to hold them, not only we, all the neighbors that you brought, I believe they're going to hold you responsible too. And again, I believe that it'll be wrong to penalize them for the actions of the other owners past, and for that reason, I would support the motion.
I think also it's important to note, we keep referring to the former owners. It was the former tenant.
Yeah,
It was your
I meant
former
the tenant.
tenant that made the mistakes. Same owner of the building since 2017, former tenant.
Thanks for the correction. I meant
I think it's important.
the former operator.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But excuse me, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
But I think it's important to note that, and again, as a past business owner who had many leases, I was a tenant for many landlords. I didn't get away with much without my landlord knowing about it. And while I wasn't involved in liquor and I wasn't involved in food, something expiring, my landlords were looking over what I did all of the time. So I find it also bothersome that the landlord wasn't aware of what was going on when we're talking about, I'll just go back to the simple thing, expired food being sold, then illegal alcohol and cigarettes being sold. So where was the landlord while all this was going on? And then the violence, the after hours, the trash, where was the landlord? And that's who we're looking to give a license to tonight.
After we had denied the liquor license, the operator was told to move his stuff out of the store because he couldn't have it on the premises, both the liquor and the cigarettes. And I just find it hard to believe that the owner of it wasn't aware of how much was in that building, because once the Department of Revenue came in and raided the building, they took out, what was it, three 26-foot U-Haul trucks. There was liquor all over the place in there, and hidden passages, and there was never any attempt to remove the liquor and find another way to right-size the operation. So I just find it hard to believe that the owner wasn't aware of what was going on. So no, at this point, I'd rather just call a vote and be done with it. And we'll see where this rolls. Roll call, please.
Washburn,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Aye.
Bhatia,
Aye.
Doxy,
Nay.
Venturini,
Nay.
DeGroot.
Nay, but the motion carries 4-1.
4-3.
Excuse me, 4-3 for the liquor license. So then we'll move on to the cigarette license, same deal.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve a new cigarette and tobacco products license for Mead Food and Liquor located at 2145 Mead Street.
Second.
So I hear a motion in a second. Any comment on that? I suppose it's just kind of rinse and repeat. So on the matter of that, I'll call a vote.
Washburn,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Bhatia,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Venturini,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Nay. That one passes 6-1. So let's move on to The next item, item C, thank you, everybody. Budget resolution, amending resolution 1322, and it's resolution 40-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 40-2023, amending Resolution 13-2022, adopting the 2023 budget for the Village of Mount Pleasant for TID 4 and TID 5 to create $75,000 appropriations for a traffic impact fee study.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. This is something we discussed at length a couple of weeks back. Does anybody need any repeat on that? If not, I'll just call the vote on the resolution 40-2023. Roll call, please.
Washburn.
Aye.
Anastasio.
Aye.
Hewitt.
Aye.
Bhatia.
Aye.
Doxy.
Aye.
Venturini.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. So we've got the resolution 40-2023?
Yep.
Or excuse me, 43-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 43-2023, amending Resolution 13-2022, adopting the 2023 budget for the Village of Mount Pleasant for TID 5 to create $102,600 of appropriations for the Ashley Development Agreement.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. This was just discussed at the COW meeting, and it's basically a repayment of, how would you describe that?
It's a repayment of paygo money.
Yeah, repayment of paygo. Roll call, please.
Washburn.
Aye.
Anastasio.
Aye.
Hewitt.
Aye.
Bhatia.
Aye.
Doxy.
Aye.
Venturini.
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. Item E, resolution 44-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 44-2023, amending Resolution 13-2022, adopting the 2023 budget for the Village of Mount Pleasant for TID 4 and TID 5 to create $5,300,000 of appropriations for the 90th Street Road project.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Any other thoughts?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
just for clarification, it's just TID 5, no TID 4.
Okay, so noted. Roll call, please.
Washburn.
Aye.
Anastasio.
Aye.
Hewitt.
Aye.
Bhatia.
Aye.
Doxy.
Aye.
Venturini.
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. So let's move on to Public Works. Item A, resolution 39-2023.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 39-2023, accepting public highway and roadways as presented.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. We'll roll call on that, 39-2023.
Washburn.
Aye.
Anastasio.
Aye.
Hewitt.
Aye.
Bhatia.
Aye.
Doxy.
Aye.
Venturini.
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. So we've got a contract on Cozy Acres.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. President, to award a contract for the 2024 Cozy Acre Road CIPP sewer lining project to the low bidder, Busy Sewer, Inc., in the amount of $356,206.35.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Discussion on that?
We discussed this at, this was kind of interesting. It's a big lining project. It's gonna solve a lot of problems for backed up sewers down in the Cozy Acre area. And the lining project itself is extensive. That's a very big sanitary area for drainage, so, it's a big project, hence the big amount.
Was that, was there a lot of I&I issues with that?
Tremendous, yes. A very old pipe, and a lot of it's clay. A lot of the laterals are clay, so a lot of, we've made great strides already, though.
Okay, so on the matter of the contract, I'll just do a voice vote on that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that matter carries. And then we have ordinance 28-2023.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. President, to approve Ordinance 28, 2023, amending Chapter 78 of the Municipal Code of Ordinances related to trucking routes on certain village roads as presented.
Second.
So we hear a motion and a second on that. No other comment? So we'll do a roll call on that.
Washburn,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Aye.
Bhatia,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Venturini,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. So let's move on to South Shore Professional Firefighters contract.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve an agreement with the South Shore Professional Firefighters International Association of Firefighters Local 2939, AFL-CIO.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second on that, and again, this was discussed at some length in the committee of the whole. That was a 3-year agreement, wasn't it?
3 years,
Yeah.
yes, sir. That's the good news. We won't have to talk about it again for 3 years.
That's right. That's right. So let's do a roll call on that.
Washburn,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Aye.
Bhatia,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Venturini,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, that motion carries. Then we have ordinance 29-2023.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve Ordinance 29-2023, amending Article 3 of the Municipal Code of Ordinances pertaining to personnel.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Roll call, please.
Washburn,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Aye.
Bhatia,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Venturini,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. One last motion.
No, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, please. We have to go watch the Packer game.
I hear a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I was going to say before that in the reports, go Pack, go, but
Go.
People even
Then
still
we'll add
watch
that.
the
Go Pack,
Packers.
go.